Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of New Review. I'm Tyler King and today I wanted to do a review of the new Depeche Mode 12-inch singles box set, Ultra, the 12-inch singles. In case the title doesn't give it away, this is the next installment in the band's ongoing series of collecting all the 12-inch singles for a respective album. So they've done it so far from Speak and Spell, now all the way up through Ultra, with the one for Exciter obviously going to be coming next, probably sometime in the next 6 or 7 months. But we're not here to talk about Exciter, we're here to talk about Ultra. So here's the box right here. It has this artwork on it that is inspired by the artwork of the Useless single, which obviously is included in here. So what this is it is a collection of the 4 singles that the band released off of the Ultra album: Barrel of a Gun, It's No Good, Home, and Useless. And they were mostly all released in 2 versions, a standard 12-inch single and a limited edition 12-inch single. Now, the limited 12-inch singles for Home and Useless, I believe, are the 2 in here that were not originally released in 1997. So what it is it's more of a compilation of the other remixes and B-sides that were on CD singles at the time. So I believe this retails for, I want to say it's $175. So you get 8 12-inch singles for $175, which I believe was the same price of their previous one, which was Songs of Faith and Devotion, which I already did a video on. If you haven't seen that one, I will link it in the description below. So let's dive in and talk about the contents. So the first thing that I noticed is that it comes with a reproduction poster of a promotional poster that you would have seen in somewhere like Tower Records at the time. The last one for Songs of Faith and Devotion was a poster for Walking in My Shoes, and for this one you get this poster for Useless with the release date underneath, so October 20th, 1997. Let me set that aside. So I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm going to go through the singles and their content, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So the first one that we get is the standard 12-inch single of Barrel of a Gun. I'm going to try not to get the ring light in the cover because this is actually a very gloss cover. As far as packaging goes, this is my favorite of the 12-inch singles because it is actually a gatefold, so you have this image of the 3 members of Depeche Mode right there: Dave Gahan, Martin Gore, and Andrew Fletcher. Now, in here, and I'm going to try to fold it out all the way, we technically get 2 posters in this release, because we get this giant, massive poster of the band right there with Fletch and Martin's faces blurred out and Dave Gahan looking straight ahead. Actually, I really love this photo of the band. I think that the imagery that the band used for this period was very fitting and appropriate, especially given the fact that, Dave was coming back from a pretty bad heroin addiction. So this was the only one that came in a standard gray jacket right here. I've put it in a separate sleeve so as not to scratch it. So the track listing on this one is Barrel of a Gun, Underworld Hard Mix, 3-Phase Mix, 1-Inch Punch Mix version 2, and Underworld Soft Mix. Now, the song Barrel of a Gun itself, I always really liked it. It's not my favorite off of the Ultra album, but I think as a lead single and a first song, it's great. I very much love how it is kind of telling for, like I just said, for what Dave was going through at the time. He said that he doesn't know if Martin wrote the song for him or about him, but it's very appropriate given everything that was going on with Dave at the time. Now, here's the thing, is that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this as we get more into this box set, but I feel like this was the beginning of the band choosing quantity over quality in terms of their remixes. Now, I believe, not 100% confirmed on this, that up through and including the Violator album, every remix that was done for the band was done in-house. What I mean is that if a member of the band themselves weren't doing the remix, then it would be somebody like Gareth Jones, Daniel Miller, Flood, somebody who was actually working on the albums and the songs with the band. And then starting with Songs of Faith and Devotion, they started, for lack of a better term, outsourcing their remixes. So we would get people like Brian Eno doing remixes for that era of the band. But it seems like, at least with Ultra, they were starting to just kind of ask anybody under the sun who made beats to do a remix. And the first remix on here, the Underworld Hard Mix, I think is a sign of that, because for me, it's one of the worst remixes I've ever heard. It's just annoying and boring and repetitive. It doesn't really go anywhere for me. Then, I believe the three-phase mix is on the B-side. Yes, so the three-phase mix is the first song on the B-side. So that one, I think, is better, which, it's kind of not saying much. But, it's fine. It definitely is a little bit more, like, quote-unquote light feeling, a little bit more bouncy. It's alright. The 1-Inch Punch version 2 definitely has more of a trip-hop feeling to it, especially with the percussion and the piano chords that make an appearance. I'm trying to think of how to set this box down so that the records don't fall out as I slide it in. I think I'm just going to have to stand it up like that. There we go. The piano chords that come in at the beginning of almost every measure, it does give it almost like a Portishead sort of feeling to it. I do like that one. And then the Underworld Soft Mix is, again, just a very lazy sounding, quote-unquote ambient mix, which to me kind of gives the feeling that, like, we're Underworld just asked to contribute because of their name and not necessarily what they brought to the table. Overall, I think the first 12-inch single is fine, not great. And then we get the limited 12-inch of Barrel of a Gun, which the track listing on here is Painkiller, Plastikman Mix, Painkiller, Barrel of a Gun, 1-Inch Punch Mix, I suppose this is version 1, and then Barrel of a Gun, the United Mix. Now, I do like this one a lot more, and one of the reasons why is that we're not just throttled over the head with 5 versions of the exact same song. So in here, it's 2 different versions of 2 different songs. I always really liked Painkiller. To me, that was one of the band's better B-sides. And when I say that, I don't just mean for this era, I mean overall. As far as the band's catalog goes, I really love it. I've kind of always had a soft spot for Depeche Mode's instrumentals, and I always thought Painkiller was one of the better ones. Now, I do think it's weird that the Plastikman mix appears first. The Plastikman mix never really sort of explodes outward the way that the original does. It's a little bit more mellow, focuses more on the nuances and backing instrumentation of the original. So I think that putting the remix first does lessen the blow of the original when you hear it. The remix, I think, though, is actually pretty good. I do really enjoy the Plastikman remix. And then the 2 remixes of the Barrel of a Gun on here are good. The 1-Inch Punch Mix, it's a lot like his other one. And the United mix is fine. For me, the appeal for this one really is Painkiller and the remix of it. So that is the limited 12-inch of Barrel of a Gun. Next, we have the 12-inch of It's No Good. I always really love that artwork with the, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, the fleur-de-lis, I believe is how you pronounce it. So the track listing on here, and again, just like that first Barrel of a Gun single, It's No Good. So we have the hard floor mix, the Speedy J mix, the motor bass mix, the Andrea Parker mix, and the Dom T mix. The hard floor mix is really just, at least to my ears, just kind of a harder version of the song. The Speedy J mix is just kind of more of the same. The motor bass mix is a little bit more, I guess, loose feeling than the original, but it's again just another remix. And then the Andrea Parker mix, I think, is a little bit more spacious and ominous sounding. It's definitely my favorite of the 5 that are on here. And then the Dom T mix just kind of sounds more of the same with some very obnoxious 90s sound effects thrown in. And this one is kind of guilty of being the first single on here that feels like a chore to get through. It's 5 remixes of a great song. I really love It's No Good, but they're all just kind of samey. There's not really much to differentiate one from the other. Up next, we have the limited 12-inch of It's No Good, which is really just kind of a gray covered version of the last one, which was more yellow. So here we have It's No Good, Slow Blow, and then on the B-side is Slow Blow, Darren Price mix, and It's No Good, Bass Bounce mix. It's No Good to me is great. Probably my favorite song from Ultra. I actually, the last time that I saw Depeche Mode was for the second leg of the Spirit Tour, and at that show, they actually played all 4 singles from Ultra. I believe it was the album's 20th anniversary at the time. So, and all very early on in the show, they played all 4 of the songs. So yeah, it's No Good. The original, for me at least, listening to this kind of feels like a palate cleanser from those last 5 remixes. Slow Blow, I think, is kind of as down-tempo as Depeche Mode ever got. It feels almost like what's the word I'm looking for? A hint of what was to come, especially on the Only When I Lose Myself single, with that song and the 2 remixes that were on that, which I think were Head Star and Surrender. So Slow Blow, I think, really was kind of looking towards what the next interim phase of the band would be before they did Exciter. It's kind of arguably also the most dated song from the Ultra sessions, but I really enjoy it. The Darren Price mix is a little bit more... There's more of a thumping beat underneath the song, but there's not a lot to distinguish it from the original. And then the bass bounce mix of It's No Good is just another mediocre remix with more of those 90s hoos thrown into it. I think overall, for the A-side, for It's No Good and Slow Blow, this one is good, but those 2 remixes I'm not really big on, unfortunately. We're now halfway through the set, and we are now at the first 12-inch single of Home. And unfortunately, just like those first singles of Barrel of a Gun and It's No Good, it's just 4 remixes. So the first one is the Jedi Knights mix, Drowning in Time, the Air Around the Gulf remix, the Meant to Be mix, and the Grantby mix. I do like the Jedi Knights remix. I think that they do an interesting thing with the song. They turn it into a little bit more of a hard-edged thing by turning it into this very like percussion-led, warbly, bass-filled song. The Air remix is kind of what you would expect from a band like Air. It's very open sounding. They stripped away a lot of the instrumentation with a lot of focus more on the vocals. And I do really like the Air remix. For me, it's one of the better remixes in this set slash from this era of the band. The Meant to Be mix is just another one that's a little bit more stripped down. They put a lot of effects on Martin's voice. I feel like they put a lot of phaser on it, if I'm remembering it correctly. And then the Grantby mix does something very interesting, which is if you listen to Home, in the outro, there's a very... so what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very recognizable string section. If you've heard the song, you know what I'm talking about. And on the Grantby mix, they put that string section throughout almost the entire song. I think that the 4 remixes on here, this is really the first time in the set where you get 4 remixes and they all sound different and they all sound distinct. So for that, I do really enjoy this one. Now, up next we have the brand new limited 12-inch version of Home. So that's going to be this one here. Fortunately, we only get one remix on this one. So the track listing is Home, then the remix is called Home, The Noodles, and The Damage Done. And then the B-side are 2 live songs. We get Barrel of a Gun and It's No Good. Home, I mean, what can be said about this song that hasn't been said before? Easily one of the best songs that Martin sings lead on. It is touching, it's emotive, it's devastating, also has a little bit of a triumphant feeling to it. I've always really loved this song. The Noodles and the Damage Done, I think, is insanely good. They turn what is a very soft Depeche Mode song into this almost like psychedelic freak out version. It's really interesting. It is the most unique remix of Home on this whole set. And then we get the 2 B-sides, which are the 2 live B-sides, which are Barrel of a Gun and It's No Good, which are both good. Dave's voice is in top form, but it shows that even when he was new to the band, Christian Eigner's drumming was really obnoxious. Especially, there's a part in... It might have been It's No Good. I forget which one it is, but one of the songs towards the end, he does this drum fill where he like plays every single drum on his kit. It's just really annoying, and it momentarily takes me out of the song. But overall, this one is very, very, very solid. And that's the limited 12-inch for Home. And now, finally, we are on to Useless. And we have 2 versions. First, we have the standard version right here, which is, as you can see, the hand. I'm doing my hand the wrong way, but it's the hand that the artwork for the box set is based off of. And again, it's all remixes, but luckily this time it's only 3. So we get the Kruder and Dorfmeister session on the A side, and the B side is the CJ Boland Sunky Sub mix and the Air 20 mix. The Kruder and Dorfmeister session is interesting. It strips away almost all of the guitar from the original, and Useless is a very guitar-heavy song. From what I can remember off the top of my head, it's one of the most guitar-heavy songs on the Ultra album. So to strip away all the guitar does add a... it creates a more spacious sound to the song that I think is actually pretty interesting. Both of the B-sides are just back to the land of mediocre generic remixes that don't really do anything interesting with the song. I think this one's worth hearing just for the Kruder and Dorfmeister session on the A side, but neither of the remixes do much of anything for me. And then we get the last one, the new limited 12-inch, which has the... So the A side is Useless Remix, which is by Alan Moulder. Then we have the Useless Escape from Wherever Parts 1 and 2, and the Cosmic Blues Mix. And then the B-side is the CJ Boland Ultrasonic Ultrasonar Mix, and a live version of Useless. So it's 5 versions of the same song, but luckily it's not boring or repetitive like you would get on that Barrel of a Gun or It's No Good one. The remix by Alan Moulder, I really enjoy. It's almost like a beefier sounding version of the song. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. The Escape from Wherever remix is interesting. It's by Barry Adamson, who was among many things, he was a member of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds for a while. And it is interesting that it's called Parts 1 and 2 because there are definitely 2 distinct parts of this remix. There's the first part, which is a little bit more traditional, and then just when you think the song is over, that's when part 2 comes in, which is a entirely different beast. I don't want to spoil anything because I don't want you to be prepared for it, but it's a very interesting remix, and both of those, the one by Moulder and the one by Barry Adamson, are 2 of the better remixes in this whole set. The Cosmic Blues one is not exactly bluesy, it's a little bit more spacious and minimal, and the Ultrasonar mix, honestly, I don't remember much of it. It's just another one of those remixes that just kind of flies by you. And the live version of Useless, just like the live versions of Barrel of a Gun and It's No Good, are totally fine. If you've heard the song live before, then you know what it sounds like. And if you haven't, it's a fine live version of the song. So that is the Ultra 12-inch singles box set. Now comes the question, is this worth the money? Like I said, it is $175. And for me, I would place Ultra, if not in my top 5 Depeche Mode albums, it's up there. Maybe number 6 or 7. And I thought, going into it, because I hadn't heard a lot of these remixes before, I thought going into it that since I was unfamiliar and the remixes up to this point had usually been pretty stellar, that it was going to be worth the investment. It was going to be worth the money. And yes, the packaging is great. The presentation is phenomenal. I love the 2 posters included. I think that... Now, when I say the packaging, I mean both in terms of the box set itself and then also each of the 8 individual singles. It's all great. They're all pressed on 180 gram. Take whatever of that what you will. Everything is supposedly remastered from the original tapes. But at the end of the day, personally, I don't think it is worth the $175 unless you are a Depeche Mode completist. I would say that the $175 or so for the Songs of Faith and Devotion box set is very much worth it because those remixes were mostly great, and there were a couple of 12-inch singles in there that were all live songs, so it was almost like a recreation of certain parts of the devotional tour. You also had a bit more song selection and B-sides, so you would have songs like One Caress, Death's Door, and My Joy, whereas here the B-sides are just Painkiller and Homestar? Whatever that B-side... Slow Blow for It's No Good. I always get the names of Headstar and Slow Blow confused. Um, and the live songs that you get on here are just live versions of songs that you've already heard. So it's a bit repetitive in points. Some of the remixes are very good, but there is no single remix on here that I would say is great or is going to stand up among some of the better remixes of the band. Now, it's a fine box set, and I do commend the band for doing these box sets because some of these 12-inch singles, especially, and I know I keep beating a dead horse. Some of the 12-inch singles, especially from the Songs of Faith and Devotion era, are worth a lot on the secondhand market. So to do a collection of all of them in one price is, I think, a commendable thing. But I don't see myself sitting around thinking, man, I really want to listen to the Underworld remixes of Barrel of a Gun again. Or, the Grantby mix of, whatever. Like I do with stuff like, the Everything Counts in Larger Amounts remix, or the Personal Jesus Holier Than Thou approach. So, taking all of that into consideration, all the songs are good as far as the A-sides are concerned. Barrel of a Gun, It's No Good, Home and Useless. But I would say, unless you're a completist, just buy the Ultra album if you want to hear those 4 songs. I'm really hesitant to give this box set a numbered score because I feel almost like a 7 is too high, but also a 6 is too low. So I'm feeling like I might give the Ultra 12-inch singles box set a 6.5 out of 10. Like I said, if you are a Depeche Mode completist and you either already have these singles or you don't have these singles, go ahead and grab it. I believe it is still available. If you have $175 lying around and you haven't heard of these singles before, or you just want to complete your collection, I would say go ahead, definitely worth the money. But otherwise, I might hold off and I might just purchase the one. I would say maybe listen to the remixes on something like Spotify or Apple Music, and then maybe just buy the 12-inch singles off of somewhere like Discogs that have the remixes that you like. Because this is really a mixed bag. Some of it is great, mostly the A-sides that aren't remixes, and some of it is very tedious and trying. It really goes from peaks to valleys very quickly on this one. But that is going to be my review of the Ultra 12-inch singles box set by Depeche Mode. What do you think of this box set? Are these remixes some of your favorites by the band? Are they your least favorites by the band? What do you think of the Ultra period as a whole? I think it's a very interesting time in the band's history, and I will probably end up doing videos on all the Depeche Mode albums at some point. I don't know why I haven't yet. But yeah, I'm very interested in what your thoughts are on this box set and the collection. So until next time, I am Tyler King with New Review. Keep listening to great music, and I will see you next time.